Hi everyone. Dr. Tony, welcome to episode 50. Other way around. 50. episode 50 of our vlog series of A Diary of a Multifaceted Mama. It has been a journey. I started this vlog series, in the beginning of 2023. After having my fourth baby, and she was just a itty bitty baby when I began it, and there were, multiple kind of reasons behind why I started this vlog series, but a big one was that I did have a baby in the infancy stages while raising my other children and getting back into the groove of, transitioning out of my maternity into meeting with clients again in my businesses, and I wanted perhaps more than ever, and this is something that's always been important to me, but I've wanted perhaps more than ever, it felt like more in the forefront, to share what real life is like as a multifaceted, multi-passionate individual, not just professionally, not just personally, but the gamut. And that was, I think it was in January-ish that I began this. And I began it more as like a daily vlog. And then it became like an every other few day vlog. And then it became like a weekly vlog. And then it became like an every other week vlog. And now it's, essentially what it evolved into is a vlog based on inspiration and intention, of course, because intention is one of those things that's core guiding principle in my life. But so I record these videos when I feel inspired to share something that I believe to be of value, because it is something that has been either of value to me in the here and now, and or of value to me at some point in my life, and or of value to someone like others that I have served and supported in some ways. So there's many different aspects of it. So this is a celebratory milestone, a celebratory stage for this vlog series to have made it to episode 50. Because if you've been here since the beginning, or maybe this is the only one you've caught, and that's cool too. Maybe you go back and check out the beginning and see the difference, feel the difference. And yet the heart of it has always been the same. So here's what I want to talk about today. And I'm glad that you're here, whether you have checked out these vlogs before or you're just brand new and you're like, oh, this piqued my interest. I'm glad that you're here no matter what. Because here's what has been so strong for me lately that I think might be something that maybe could be helpful to you, depending on where you're at in your journey. And it starts with this question. When is the last time, or when can you remember feeling at peace within your soul? Feeling at peace within yourself. Can you recall that feeling? Can you feel that feeling now? Do you have any idea of what that feels like? During this time in history, right now while I'm recording this, and today is November 2nd, 2023. During this time in history, we have, as a society, as a macro level community, we've been through a lot together. We have been through incredibly divisive, hate-filled elections that have led to families and friendships being torn apart, that have led to violence, that have led to a lot of pain. We have been through a pandemic. We have been through our own personal, individualized experiences. And now we have even seen wars happening. And people, families, whole segments of neighborhoods and communities be torn apart. We've seen horrific, life-taking natural disasters happen in various areas of our world. And someone can easily look at that, especially someone with a compassionate heart, a caring, generous heart, can look at all of that and just completely break down. Someone can also look at all of that and become completely enraged. But if someone is able to look at that and still somehow touch an internal peace within their soul, then I think that there can be a lot of judgment about that. What, you don't care? Why aren't you angry? Why aren't you doing something about it? Why aren't you trying to do something to fix it? And that can lead, especially people like me, and perhaps like you too, that just really deeply care. It can lead us to feel bad or wrong or guilty for experiencing, for having faith in this internal sense of, yes, this is horrific, or yes, this sucks, or yes, this hurts, or yes, this is going to change things, or yes, this is traumatizing. And I can feel peace in my soul, even though I don't understand everything that's happening, why it's happening, or what to do. There can be shame, there can be guilt, there can be so much negative thoughts and emotions that can come with it, that it actually can pull us away from experiencing an internal peace that I believe we are meant to be able to experience. Not because there's peace in the world, because the truth is there will never be peace 100% in all of the world all at once for an extended, sustainable period of time. That doesn't mean that I'm no longer caring or no longer compassionate or no longer want to contribute in whatever way I possibly can to helping with healing, to helping with connecting in a meaningful way, to helping in the way and serving in the way and inspiring in the way that I can. But if I cannot connect to my own internal sense of peace amidst the storms of life, then I am significantly hindering the power and ability that I have to do and share what I can. And it took me a very long time to realize that. It took me the greater part of my life to realize that. And it's recently settled on this deeper level when there have been some personal things in my life and my personal relationships that have popped back up again that have been traumatizing for me before, and I have done a lot of work to heal them, internal work to heal them. And so there are still some that can, you know, if something happens in my personal relationships that kind of is a reminder of some of those past experiences, it can pique something for me, or it can cause me to notice, like, oh, there's this reaction for me to pay attention to take care of. And so that had been happening. And I said, there is something here for me to pay attention to, because I can feel, right? Like I can feel something's off, even though I know that I'm safe right now, right? I'm not experiencing the trauma right now. I've healed a lot of this that is, you know, is being kind of tapped right now or activated right now. And so let me pay attention to this. And as I've been doing that, there was this reminder that came up for me. And this was, gosh, I haven't thought about this in this way. I don't know that I've ever thought about this in this way, actually. But there was this reminder that came up for me with this saying. It was a song that I used to sing as a kid. Both my parents are pastors, and so I sang all kinds of songs in church as a kid. And one of them is like, I have a peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where down in my heart? Where down in my heart? I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where down in my heart to stay? And it goes on and on. But maybe you know, maybe you don't. But I sang that song as a child. And of course, as a child, it didn't strike me what that meant. But these past few weeks, it struck me. It struck me. Because I was thinking about some of those natural disasters, some of those pains, traumas, and turmoils that we've experienced as a society, as well as feeling what was coming up for me in the moment because of certain activators that were happening in my personal relationships. And there was this flicker of, and still I can feel peace in my heart and in my soul because I have faith. And I'm not talking about religion. This has nothing to do with religion. That's not what this is about. But that saying, I have a peace that passes understanding, hit me in a different way. And it's just, I've been saying it to myself every single day now for the past few weeks. Because I'm someone that grew up not feeling understood. I'm someone that has just most of my life felt like people don't understand me. And I'll be honest, I still often feel like, you know, it's all right. People just often just don't understand me, you know. And depending on how I look at that, it can feel good or it can feel bad, right? I can be like, okay, it's okay if people don't understand me, as long as I am clear on who I am and why and how I'm showing up and all that stuff. Like, it's okay if people don't understand me. I don't expect people to understand or even agree with, you know, everything that I say or think or do. That's okay. And there's other times like, oh, I'm always misunderstood. No one ever understands me, and it can feel bad. It all depends on how I'm looking at it. But this reminder of this childhood song that has that part at the end, I have the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. It spoke to my soul in this way that it was exactly what I needed to hear from me, through me, for me. And it has helped me to come back into, it's like another way among many other strategies that I use to come back into my core when things either seem frustrating or stressful or unfair, or when I'm reminded, my body or my mind is reminded of a trauma, a past trauma that I've experienced. That's just, it's being pulled up in the here and now because of something that's happening that's reminding me of it. Saying this to myself, and still, right? I don't want to invalidate any of my experience or any of anyone else's experience either. So I'm not saying, yeah, but I'm saying, yes, and I can have this peace that passes understanding down in my heart. And as I continue to say that to myself and really feel into that, other things that came up, other stories that came up, like Daniel in the lion's den, and these are Christian-based stories because that's the church I grew up in. But I'm not talking about religion here. But Daniel in the lion's den was about, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but essentially Daniel's facing a lion, right, in a den that he can't get out of. But goes in, not to this peaceful situation, but to this potentially life-ending situation with that peace that passes understanding, right? Like, no one can really understand, like, how could he feel peace in his heart as he walks in there? That makes zero sense. Or what's it? David and Goliath, right? Goes to face this giant. This little one goes to face this giant with only a slingshot, right? Like, no one would like, what do you think you're doing? You can't defeat them. But there's this peace that passes understanding down in their heart that allowed them to go into that situation. Again, these are just stories, okay? But they're there are ones that I think can help be reminders for us. And maybe you can think of ones that have happened in your life too, right? Is like in a crisis situation, has someone rose to the occasion, so to speak, with this peace that passes understanding down in their heart, right? Like, have you seen that? Have you felt that yourself? It's possible. And it's not something that we need to feel guilt or shame about. It's not something we need to hide. It's not something we need to flaunt either and tell people that they need to feel this way, right? Like, if someone's feeling a certain way because of something that they're experiencing or the perspective that they have, it doesn't mean that we need to tell them like, oh, you should just have a peace in your heart, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. This is an internal experience for ourselves, right? That only we can do for ourselves. But when we do that, when I do that, I'm better because of it. I'm not less compassionate. I'm not apathetic. I'm not numb or blind. I feel supported. I feel strengthened. I feel more clear-minded. It's a different way of, I think, incorporating our faith, a faith in there being a connection and a purpose within us all, for all of us. And that brings me to the next piece that I wanted to share today, which is what I believe the purpose of life to be. And as I practice, keep practicing, reminding myself of this peace that passes understanding, and that I'm allowed to feel it. I don't have to feel it. I don't have to force myself to feel it. I don't have to feel bad for feeling it or not feeling it. Like, I'm allowed to feel it. And that's okay, right? Like, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. As I keep practicing that and reminding myself of that, I'm also anchored back into what I believe the purpose of life is. And this is my definition. Whether, if it's for you, take it or leave it. I did not, take this from someone else. So it's not something that I found elsewhere. This is something I cultivated within myself, within my life. So I'm going to read it to you because I have it on my wall. It says, let me bring you over. Ready? The purpose of life is to meaningfully connect, contribute, and create through both individual and collective experience with as much passion, joy, love, compassion, and purpose as possible in any given moment. Because none of us can do that in every single moment forever and evermore, right? I'm going to read that to you again. Ready? The purpose of life is to meaningfully connect, contribute, and create through individual and collective experience with as much passion, joy, love, compassion, and purpose as possible in any given moment. Take what you want, leave what you want. But that, reconnecting with that, feels true, feels helpful, feels like a guide. It supports the pillars and anchors that help me to try to show up as best I can as mom, as therapist, as mentor, as wife, as sister, as daughter, as all of these different roles, that I take on, and also within the different passions that I have as advocate, as just educator, and all these different things. And I think that it's something that is easy to lose sight of. And so what I wanted to do today in this 50th episode of our vlog series is to share it with you. That maybe it's okay to feel a peace that passes understanding. Maybe it's okay that even if the rest of the world isn't peaceful around you, or the external circumstances aren't peaceful around you, maybe it's okay. Maybe you're allowed to find a way that helps you feel peace within yourself, within your heart, within your soul. And maybe the more that you do that, the better you feel, the more clear-minded you become, and the better you're able to show up in your life and in your relationships. And then the more connected to your purpose you feel, the more fully you live in your life. It's true for me. It's certainly true for many that I have served and supported that have some overlapping areas, you know, that I've shared here in these vlog series. Because these are common areas to struggle with. These are common areas to have challenges with for many, 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 many of us. And I think that having these conversations is an important part of all of our healing and growth, no matter how old we are, no matter how many seasons we've gone through in life. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your comments or contributions or even questions below, and we can connect and have this conversation go even further, even deeper, in a way that serves us all. Till next time, y'all.